Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, and I know a lot of you are, I'm Lori. I am the creator behind Stitch and Moan. I specialize in cute and creepy crochet plushies. That's very hard to say. So again, if you are new here, welcome. I know my last vlog about my market that I did in 4 days somehow got a lot of views and new subscribers. And honestly, I was kind of afraid to post that because of the snakes. If you are like me, and I know a lot of people are, I'm actually quite terrified of snakes, like terrified. I respect them. I just don't want them to like surprise me while I'm out on a walk or out in the world. I can do reptile shows with no problem because they are contained for the most part, and I know to expect them. Plus they're not like out on the ground. But anyway, so if you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you continue to hang out with us and see what kind of creepy stuff that we're into. I am one of those Halloween all year round types. My coffee mug. It's 10 o'clock and I'm still drinking coffee. It's been a morning. I did not do a vlog last week because it was coming off of a holiday weekend and I really didn't have a whole lot made, and I couldn't get it together. It's summer break and it's kind of doing me in. Today is Wednesday and it is way later for me to be recording this than I wanted to. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I couldn't do it. I don't know where I was going with that. So today's Wednesday. I want to get this posted, so we're just gonna sit here and chat. I'm in the floor in front of my yarn wall, yarn shelf. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw what this looked like yesterday morning. That was, I'll put a picture here. It was chaos. I'm in the process of trying to redo, reorganize, and kind of clean out this room. If you are new here, I homeschool my son. He's 16. We are going into 10th grade. This room where we are is my crochet room and our homeschool room, and also a hangout room. And it is the room where I have to fight the cats to eat from eating my yarn. I'm trying my first day of closed door time, and I have to have the cats in here with me, or else they will stand out in the hallway and scream because they don't like closed doors in their house. So it's been quite an exciting week, I think. Sometime last week, I was tagged in a post from another vendor friend of mine, and because, hang on. Bee's trying to eat yarn again. Another vendor friend of mine tagged me in a post about local businesses, and through that, I was put into contact with someone who does a night market at a local oddities shop that I have followed for years. I haven't been in because it's in an area of town I don't get to very often, but I love this, like the whole idea of this shop. And they do a night market once, it's like the second Saturday of the month. It's from 8 to 11, which is way past my bedtime. And I've always wanted to do it, but I didn't know who to contact. So through this post that my vendor friend tagged me in, I was put in contact with the person who runs it. I asked if, you know, my stuff would be a good fit for a vendor, like to have a table at one of their night markets. She said yes, gave me some very cool ideas for some stuff to bring, like smaller items. And I got accepted in. So I'm now doing my first night market, and I'm so excited about it because this place is so cool. It is in September, so we have some time. Bee has found another plastic bag. Bee is my cat. One of my cats, and she likes being in here with me. So yeah, activities that require 0 cats. Anyway, so we've got that night market coming up, and then I have a very big market in October that I have coming up. So those are my 2 booked ones. And then there are 2 other ones that I'm waiting for registration. They're ones that I've done before, and I'd like to do them again. So that's hopefully 4, which is very funny because I started the year off with a goal of doing 4 markets. So far I've already done 3, and you know, if I do these other 4, then I've way surpassed my goal, which is good. I'd love to do one, you know, at least once a month. I find that if I have that something to work for, I don't know, I'm a lot happier. Anyway, let's get into it. Like I said, I've been busy getting ready for these markets. Now, I'm going to start off with the biggest thing because this took me the longest, which I'm so embarrassed about. Because it's summer break and the pace is quite a bit slower, I can't just sit and knock out something like I normally would. Like my Voodoo doll that I'm wondering if people are sick of seeing yet. This was a bestseller in my shop last year. I can't tell you how many of these I sold at Christmas. I think I sold 5 in 1 week in November, I think. I don't even remember. And that was just like the beginning of November. But anyway, I made a ton of these last year, and they are my bestseller. We all know about the Bernat Almond Drama. This is the darker version. I guess the original formula. I like it. I am going to have to redo all my photos, which reminds me I need to do that today. But I finally finished him yesterday. He took me like a week and a half to finish. And that's ridiculous because normally I could do these in like 2 days. Body in 1 day, all the embroidery and the heart the next day, and be done. But he is going to be part of my core inventory. This one I'm going to list on Etsy, and then make some more for all of my markets. And I'd like to have at least 2, but I don't know. So we'll see. And that is the free pattern from Chrissy's Spooky Crochet. So let's see what else. I made 2 of these. He's not finished yet. We know the Baby Grimm. I need to do his frill on his robe, and I need to stop stuffing them. I might start weighting them so they sit better. But anyway, this is from Handmade by Nickel. I've talked about him before. I made 2 of these. I just have to do the frill. He's also going to be part of my core inventory. I'm going to have him in black and the purple from Sweet Snuggles Light. That's what this is. He's so cute. I love him, and they make up so fast. So hopefully these will do well. I've only had them at 1 market, and that was the reptile show, and people thought they were cute, but that's not really what they were looking for. So we're gonna have some of these, and like I said, I made 2 of them. I have no idea where the other one is though, because I've been dragging all of my stuff downstairs and working, so I have no idea where anything is. And I saw from Nickel, she has a Patreon, and one of her free Patreon patterns is a little skeleton named Sylvie, so I decided to make that. It's a cute pattern. It didn't take very long. I made it, I think, would have been 1 sitting if I had the right size eyes, which I still don't. These are way too big. I think I should have sized down. The pattern is great. Works up quick, and I think that this would be fun to have. And it's one of those ones where the legs are crocheted in, but he still sits good. Not like, I don't like those ones where they sit like that, but he still sits fine. The yarn was a nightmare to work with though. It was that Snugs and Kisses, I think is what it's called, from Hobby Lobby. This is an older skein. I bought this last year, and I didn't realize that it was different than the Bernat blanket. There's a difference. This was a lot softer, which is why I chose to use it for the skeleton, because of how skinny the rounds are. But this yarn is terrible. I'm trying to make a magic ring with it. I had to sew where it started. You started it's awkward. Sorry. Down here where you have to start the magic ring, I couldn't get it to stay tight. It kept like migrating open, and then I pulled it so much that the yarn, like the fuzzy part, was coming off, and I ended up having to sew it shut. And then the same thing happened. You crochet the legs in, and where I fastened off on the legs, it just was a nightmare. So I don't recommend doing this with a yarn that sheds a whole lot. And I'm size-wise, I think he's great. You know, little desk buddy or whatever. But if the yarn sheds a whole lot, it's just going to be a nightmare, because I ended up having to sew a lot for this, and it's a no-sew, I think. But other than the yarn, this is super cute, so I might try this again in a different yarn. I want it to be in a softer one, so it's not so stiff. So I don't have any of that right now. I'm very low on certain shades of yarn that I need. So, but this was a free pattern, very cute, and it didn't take very long, I don't think. So if I can figure out the yarn situation on that, he will definitely be at my table. What else have we done? Okay, so I've had this pattern in and out of my cart for probably a year, and I just never bought it, and it's $4, so it's stupid that I didn't. But I have been looking for a good bat pattern. At my last market, someone asked me if I had any bats, and I was like, oh, I don't. And I was like super annoyed at myself for not having bats. I didn't even think about it. But, you know, to go along with my whole vibe, I feel like I need to have a good bat pattern in my inventory year round. So this one from Mom's Stitch Eddy, and I have not put his nose on yet, is like the most perfect bat pattern. I have tried so many free patterns that I just did not like. I'm not a fan, because I use blanket yarn, thicker yarn, I'm not a fan of when you crochet the big rounds for the wings and then fold it over. It's just, they're so thick, I just don't like the way it looks. But this wing, I love how she did it. Did I say this was Mom's Stitch Eddy's chunky bat? Because that's what it is. I love this wing design. It's perfect. This is the most perfect wing design. Look how chubby he is. I think he's going to do really well. I'm going to have a ton of these. Didn't take very long. You do sew the ears and the wings on, but, and then you embroider like a little nose. I think these are 18mm sinker eyes, and I just use a disc. I was not even wanting to deal with trying to paint it, because I don't want to say I'm over the glitter eyes for myself, but I do want to branch out and do different. Like, I don't want to just have glitter eyes. I want to have like the color shifting and everything, but I'm just not there yet. So using what I have, and I didn't feel like waiting. So I just used the little color disc that came with the eyes, but I love him. I'm not sure what I'm going to charge for him though, but perfect little bat. Another bat pattern that I bought, and this is because of Chris at the Enchanted Skein and Krista at the Hook Dragon. It's Swoop, the Stitchkin from the Crochet Carpenter. It was my first pattern from him, but look at that. So that night market that I was talking about, this is so ridiculous, but I can't, this is hilarious. That night market that I was talking about coincides with the place, like there's a music venue right next door, and they have goth night on the same night that they have the night market. It's like at the same time, so you can like go to the night market and then go to goth night, which I'm actually thinking I might do, because I have not been to a goth night in like 20 years. But I thought it would be hilarious to have a bunch of these. Like, can you imagine these fluttering around on the dance floor, listening to Bauhaus? I'm way too excited about this. I made this last night. Like I said, this is my first pattern from Erin, and I am completely obsessed. It did not take very long to make, and because I saw Chris talk about it yesterday, I knew to read the pattern all the way through, which I have a hard time with also. The way my brain works, I can understand things better if I'm actually working in it, because I don't know, it just seems so nonsensical to me to read certain things without actually doing it. It just makes more sense if I'm actually working through it. But I knew to like read through and like pay attention to how he makes a picot, because I think it's his picot is the way that I learned how to do it. I'm gonna have 1,000 of these at my table. Like, I'm just gonna be making these all the time. He's gonna be a core part of my inventory also. For the hem, I followed the pattern and I used a 6mm hook, and this is in Bernat, like an old skein of Bernat. I actually frogged something else to make him, and because I don't have any gray left. The pattern called for 16mm eyes, but these are 10s. I put a 15 in there and it was enormous. And I also forgot a stitch in the ears. So I think next time I make these, I'm gonna go up to a 6.5 probably. And then maybe do a 12 on the eyes. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna make a ton of these. I love them. They're so, and plus it's just like a perfect looking bat. So I've gone from no bats to 2 different types, and I'm very excited about that. And then the last thing that I made, this is specifically for that night market. Now, like I said, it is at an oddities shop on Instagram. I was chatting with April from A Cord of Crochet, and we were talking about Creature May's Tooth Fairy pattern, and she had sent me a free pattern for Treasure the Tooth Fairyling. This is so awesome, but I would have nowhere to make it. This oddity shop, the woman who is the event coordinator said that teeth are like good sellers there. That's a sentence that I just said. So it's like, that's perfect. So I made this one. This is the craziest thing I have ever made. And I wish I would have put the eye up one more row, because it's kind of like when it stands up you kind of can't see it. And I did paint this eye. This eye I painted with just some different colored glitters, or different shades of like silver and black glitter. And then this is Bernat, the last little bit of gray that I have. And then this is Cozy Occasion with a 7mm hook. And this is in ivory. This, I can't remember, is like the light gray Bernat. It was so soft. I'm so sad that I'm out of this. And this was with a 6.5. But look how cool that is. I hope this does really well. Plus, it was a fun thing to make. This is, you know, you sew the wings on, and then you sew the little eyebrow on, and then you just make the dents with yarn after you finish it. But, you know, he came together pretty quick, and I enjoyed making him so much that I made another one in my purple, of course. This is another skein of that Snugs and Kisses, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of like a lavender and white kind of color. And for this eye, I just used the glitter disc that it came with. I wanted to do like a purple color changing, color shifting kind of thing, but sadly I don't have any powders or light or resin or any of the things to do that. So okay, sorry for the abrupt cutoff. That was a great example of closed door time failing miserably. So we are gonna have to have some kind of other thing. I'm gonna have to like make an announcement, like it's the airport, like, hey, I'm about to do this, don't come in here. So that was a little bit frustrating. I had 40 whole minutes of unbothered time, which I guess I should be happy about. But anyway, I'm a little salty about that. So anyway, that all was yesterday. Today's now Thursday. I wanted to have this vlog uploaded on Wednesday, but I had issues with getting the rest of it filmed, and I decided last minute that I wanted to add one more pattern into this week's makes. And I started it last night, and I made the mistake of trying to watch a movie while I was reading a brand new pattern. And I figured it would be okay since it was another Stitchkin and I already knew how to do it. I don't need to read the whole pattern. I can do this. That was wrong. I got so confused during this thing last night. I had no idea what I was doing. And then this morning, or earlier this afternoon, I looked at it again and I was like, I have no idea what I've done here. Why does this thing have like there were all these holes? Apparently I had skipped like an entire paragraph of the pattern which told you exactly what to do and what all of these holes were for. So I had actually started making a second one because I thought the first one was completely ruined. But lo and behold, I actually did it right. I was just not reading the whole pattern. So read the whole pattern. That's why we put it on there. Anyway, so like I said, I bought the Swoop from Aaron. That was my first Stitchkin. I see people making them all the time and I think they're adorable, but they're not really. I mean, the dinosaurs, I guess, are my vibe. But I was like, I don't know if I would have any luck with them. I saw the bat and I knew that that would be a great seller. So I looked at Aaron's page and I noticed that he had a free pattern for Sid the Spider. So yeah, I made another one. I made another Stitchkin. He turned out a little bit bigger than I thought. This is the Cozy Occasion yarn, and I use a 7mm hook with this because this kills my hands. He was a little more time consuming. It took me 2 days to make him. I started him last night, I had to finish him today. But once I got the hang of it, I think he'll go pretty fast. I think I might make these in Sweet Snuggles Light. I've got this purple and I've got some pink and black. So I think I might make these because of the velvety look out of the Sweet Snuggles Light. And then, you know, it won't be as big because he's kind of big. But as far as like a spider goes, I think he's perfect looking. And these are crocheted in. This is minimal sewing. It's actually no sew. I just had to sew up a couple of gaps from where I connected things. But the legs are surface crocheted on, which I love. I don't like making 8 legs and then crocheting them in. I hate that. So, and they, you know, go in the right direction. So he's adorable. So that is my last pattern for this week. I've been busy, made a lot of cool things, figured out some stuff that's going to be in my inventory year-round. So I still have 2 other patterns that I did not talk about in this vlog. Those will be for next week, and I'm really excited about that. I just have to figure out the yarn for one of them. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed all of these fun makes, especially the Tooth Fairy. If you make the big one from Creature Made, please tag me. I want to see it. I know she has a tester call out for the gourd, but I'm not going to apply for it. I've got enough to do. I don't need to be doing that. Plus, I am having 0 luck with tester calls this year, and I don't know if it's just because I'm like not posting on Instagram like I used to. I hate posting there. But I have applied for numerous tester calls this year, and I've not gotten picked for any of them. And I know it's not my work, but I'm pretty sure it's just that I don't have like an active, like super active account right now, because I don't want to post there. Like, I like seeing what everybody else makes, but I'm kind of over it. So, but anyway, I think with that, we're going to wrap it up so I can start making things for next week's vlog. If you liked what we did here, I hope you stick around, subscribe, and hit the like button so other like-minded ghouls can find my channel. And I hope to see you guys back next week, but until then, have a good week.